In 1984, when Mohammed Emrith was president of the Windsor Islamic Association, we decided that we have to think about expansion of our facilities at that time. And we decided to contact the Saudi Arabian embassy to see if there was any assistance from them in future expansion. So a committee made up of the president, Mumtaz Emrith, Dr. Hakim Abu Zahra, Dr. Moody Edwards, Dr. Peer, myself, Gordon Jasey, made a trip to Ottawa and had an interview with the cultural attaché there. We were well received, however, they were not in the business of supporting functions as we were requesting at that time, but might in the future. So we left there, and on the way home stopped at the Toronto, had to change planes at the Toronto airport. And at that time we met a lawyer that was Dr. Moody Edwards' lawyer, and he asked us what we were doing, and we told him we had just returned from Ottawa, that we were thinking of expanding our facilities, and we were investigating this. And he said, well, he knows of a lot in Windsor that was for sale that we might want to think about. This lot was on Huron Line and Todd Lane. It's a little over 20 acres, and it had previously been purchased by people that wanted to build a hotel there, but because of the depression at the time, or I should say recession, they backed out. The farmer that owned the land was willing to sell it for what was left of the asking price. When we returned to Windsor, we presented the offer to our general body, and they accepted that we buy the property, which was a little over $75,000 at the time. So the property was brought, and we actually went to the point of designing a mosque, a recreation center, a shopping center, senior citizen center, an apartment building, and in the center of all this property, a large recreation soccer field, football field, whatever.
So about building a mosque, how it started, like
Building which mosque?
1970, 69.
Well, in 1970, we were at Wellington Street, of course, until the facilities there were getting crowded. We sold the property there in 1968. In 1967, we bought a lot at the corner of Northwood and Huron Line, at the corner of Northwood and Dominion. And for a couple of years we functioned using the facilities of the YMCA, the Kaboto Club, and the Masonic Temple for our functions. In 1970, we had the building built, completed, and occupied the present site at 1320 Northwood. The mosque at that time cost us $600,000.
60.
Oh, sorry, $60,000. In today's funds, though, that would be about $680,000. We didn't really have enough money to cover it, but we arranged financing that was backed by Dr. Moody Edwards, Nave Jasey, Dr. Ernie Zarzor, Dr. Hussain, and Dr. Parla, and myself. But we paid for the mosque in less than 2 years, and that's the last time we had to do any financing of a project.
So actually there was any interest on the...
The interest on the loan was paid for by the community, who made $5 a month payments. The families that contributed, that covered the interest.
So actually, Doctor, how's like when the old mosque on Wellington's was sold, which about $4,000-5,000, and the land it cost about 7,500 at that time.
6,000.
6,000 something.
$6,000. And the Wellington was sold for 4,000. I think.
So actually, who took the responsibility to sign for the responsibility?
The people that financed the from the bank, the ones that I already mentioned.
You already mentioned their
Dr.
names.
Hussain,
Yeah.
Dr. Parla, Dr. Edwards, Dr. Zarthur, myself, and did I mention 6?
Yeah. So actually, how long it took until the mosque was built?
Well, the mosque, we had the plans made in fall of '69. By early 1970, the mosque was built. So we entered in 1970. See, Parla, Hussain, Zarthur, Edwards, Naif, Jasey, and myself. There's 6 people that.
So how about the Youth Muslim Association at the beginning, and how it was changed to the Windsor Islamic Association?
Well, the in 1950, I was in Windsor between years of going to the university, and at that time Albert came to me and he said that Siddiqa Sadika and her sister
Khaldiyya.
Khadi talked about we should have a youth organization.
Including Jafar.
Jafar and Hazel had met with them, and the idea came up between these 4 people.
Okay.
And they came to me, and I said, well, why do you want an organization? What's the purpose of it? What are you trying to accomplish? And I wanted them to decide on what course this group was going to take. And after discussions, we decided, well, we should know who we are. We should know our religion, our history. We should know about the community we live in. We should interact with the community. And we should have programs on that line. So the organization was formed. In the beginning, we had meetings at my brother's motel at one of the cabins. And subsequently, the meetings were held at the homes once a month. And at these meetings, we would have guest speakers to talk to us about the various subjects that we were interested in: history, religion, current events, business even. And we were very active at the time with the community at large, and especially the Lebanese Christian community. A bowling club was formed, and they had regular bowling outings. The group became very well known in the community, and the fact that the deputy prime minister, but the minister of health, Martin, I think his first name was what?
Martin.
No, what was his first name though? Paul Martin.
Paul Martin, yeah.
Paul Martin, who has represented Windsor in the federal government of the day. He came to one of our meetings because he wanted to get our support for one of his candidates running for the Liberal election that year. So we became very well known just in 1 year from our various activities. We had annual picnics that we invited everybody in the community, Christians, Muslims, non-Muslims too. They were very successful. These kind of operations, I left Windsor, of course, and went back to university in 1951. But the group continued. Albert acted as president, and there were other members.
Albert who?
Albert Jasey.
Okay.
Albert was president, and it functioned very well until.
Jafar, you're talking about Jafar?
Yeah, Jafar.
Okay.
In 1960, the Windsor Islamic Youth Association had fewer members than when it started, and they decided it was time to invite the senior members of the community. Now, the senior members were kept out originally because there was always petty strife between families, and we wanted to exclude this from the workings of the association. So we, in the beginning, did not invite them to be members, but they were supportive and they helped us. The ladies especially were the ones that prepared the dinners for our annual fundraising dinners and other social functions. And as a result, now in 1960, of fewer members, I wasn't here at the time, but the members decided that they should open up to the general community, and at that time the Windsor Youth Association became the Windsor Islamic Association. And Albert Jasey, or Jasey, was the first president